What's up, everybody? This is Steve from Press Start News. We're trying to do something a little bit different. Normally, we just do a lot of gameplay videos, some live streams, things like that. But I'm doing something new. I just signed up for a one of those box services, similar to ones like Loot Crate and Nerd Block and so forth. But I didn't sign up for those because basically I was just getting a bunch of extra little trinkets. As you can see, I've already got a few on the shelf, and it just would have been a lot more that would have just been sitting there collecting dust or whatever. But I also, as you can also see on the shelf, collect retro video games. So I came across a few services, and I decided to sign up for one of them. And I got my first box, and I'm going to go ahead and open it and show you guys what I got. Pretty cool kind of service. It's called Video Games Monthly. Here's the box here. And they have a number of different plans that you can choose from, 3, 4, 5, or 10. Starts as low as $30 with $5 shipping, so $35 each month. And then they send you a box of games based on what systems you select. You can send them a wish list of stuff that you want. So if they have what you have on your wish list, they can go ahead and send it. You can also They also have a list of all the games for that system, and you select the ones that you already have, so that way they don't send you duplicates. So I've actually already opened my box. A lot of people open theirs live on the video, but I got excited and I couldn't wait. So I went ahead and opened up my box. So let me show you what I got. So one of the things that they do, well, of course, first they give you the little card here that tells you to update your library. It doesn't do it automatically. You have to do that, plus anything else that you might buy, because I do buy other stuff. So I'll update my list so that next month they don't send me something I already have. But something that they do from time to time is they'll send you a 1-up, sometimes a 2-up. I've seen some people get more than that. They'll scratch out the little number and write in another one. But this means that I get an extra game. So I have the pack where I get 4 games a month. So because of this 1-up, I have 5. So let me show you what I got. So I mainly collect cartridge systems. I'll randomly, every now and then, if I come across a disc-based game, I might get it. I've got a lot of stuff I have digital. So I'm not so much worried about collecting disc-based games. If it just happens to be something I think would be cool or the price is right, I might go ahead and get it. So I'm not getting that, but they do offer that with Dreamcast, PlayStation 1, and 2. They even have the portables, so all the Game Boys and Game Gear, they have those as well. I'm not collecting for the portable systems. Again, if I see something I think is cool, like a little Mario Kart or something like that I used to play, Gradius or something like that, I may grab that. But I'm mainly collecting for the consoles, the home consoles. So I've got Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Genesis, Nintendo 64, and this time I actually also selected Super Famicom, which is the Japanese Super Nintendo for those that don't know. So I'll show you those in a moment. So I do have 5 games here. The first one here is Extreme G on the Nintendo 64, kind of like a motorcycle racing game. Never played it. I've actually never played any of these games before, so all of them is cool to have them in my collection. None of them are really spectacular. I'll warn you up front. But I'm excited to actually have additional games in my collection. That's what I'm looking for. So Extreme G on the Nintendo 64. This one I've never heard of. It's a Genesis game, Light Crusader. I've never heard of this. Just based on the artwork, it looks like some kind of maybe a hack and slash beat 'em up maybe. If that's the case, I'm happy because I love those kind of games. So we'll give it a go and try that one out. On the original Nintendo, I remember this game. I don't remember it being particularly great, but Fester's Quest. I used to watch the Addams Family. Not necessarily a fan, so I guess that's why I never really bothered to play it, but I remember the game. So we'll give it a go. We got it now. So now I've got 2 Super Famicom games. Both of them, the titles are in complete Japanese. I will put the titles at the bottom of the screen as I show them, because I don't have them in front of me right now. But I did look up what kinds of games they are. I don't know how well I'll be able to play them because they're in Japanese. This one here, and as you can, I'll put the title down here below. This one is, it's kind of a mahjong type looking game. Looked a little different. I like mahjong. I've played mahjong games before. There's something interesting to pass the time when I don't want to get into anything serious. But this one being in complete Japanese, I have no idea. When I looked at a video of it, I was like, ooh, what are they even doing? So I have to give it a go and see what it's all about. This one here is from Kawai. I've never known how to pronounce that company. I've never bothered to really worry about it. But this one is, I'm going to get a little bit closer so you can see the label a little bit better. This is a strategy game. So again, the complete Japanese of it is going to be difficult to play. But we'll see what happens. Maybe this is a good reason for me to look into maybe like a Retron 5 or something like that to see if they got language patches for these games here. But you know, it was something worth having. A couple Japanese games. It's the first ones I've ever gotten for, and cartridge based anyway. I've got PlayStation Japanese games that I've had before, so that you know, as a thing. But as far as the overall box, whether it was worth the money that I paid, I haven't priced it all out. I know a couple of these are not extremely expensive, maybe about $5 for some of them, 10 at the most. But total, I haven't priced them out. I haven't found a place to really price these Famicom carts, so I don't know what the value are of those. I know most of them aren't particularly high. But again, I'm looking for some of everything. You can see my shelf. Well, you can see part of it. It's not particularly big. My collection is still relatively small. I'm still missing a lot of key titles. So I'm just looking for whatever I can get. So with all that said, those are the games from Video Games Monthly. While I have you doing this video, I figured I'd go ahead and add in some of my pickups that I recently got. So, oh, by the way, they sometimes send you also little extra little trinkets in there. This time they sent a Video Games Monthly magnet. So like a little refrigerator magnet. So sometimes they'll send pins. I've seen people get little Pokemon figures and stuff like that. I'm not into Pokemon, so I'm not really looking for those. But, you know, it is what it is. There is a shop on my side of town. I live in Atlanta. There's quite a few shops in Atlanta, but on my side of town, there's just one really. We've got a few thrift stores, but I've gone over to this store a couple times recently and grabbed a few things. Tried to get over there every day, but I didn't have enough time to get over there. So a few random things that I bought recently from them. On Super Nintendo, Tasmania. Pretty fun little game, something different. Uses a lot of Mode 7. My sisters had this Nintendo game when we were growing up, and whenever it was a Disney game, and whenever we would get these Disney games, I'd sit there and play them, and we'd beat them in like a day or two. But I've got a daughter, and me and my son play games all the time. She tries to play. I figured I'd get her something. Plus, I remember this game being pretty decent. Got The Little Mermaid on NES, so that is a little something to have to share with her. And keeping up with the Disney theme on Genesis, got Mickey Mania. Never played this game, seen video of it, and I'm really surprised I never played it because I like Disney games on the 8-bit and 16-bit systems, and that one looks to be really, really good. Kind of in line with Castle of Illusion and things like that. But I used to have the one on Super Nintendo where he would, I forgot the name of it, where he puts on the fireman suit and stuff like that. I'm still looking for another copy of that. But That one I never got a chance to try, so glad to have that one. I have the first one of this. Now I have the second, Vector Man 2. Never played the second one before. The first one, loved it. Great game. Not exactly hard, but not exactly easy. So we'll see how that one is. Got a couple N64 games. This one I had years ago, but most of my N64 games were gone, so I'm kind of rebuilding that collection. So this was one I had that I needed. Wave Race 64. It's got a little writing on the label. I'm gonna see if I can try to get that off. Hopefully it won't fade the label or anything. And as you can see behind me, I'm a big Star Wars fan. And I've got Shadows of the Empire and Episode 1 Racer. So I had to pick up Rogue Squadron. So I've never played this one, so I'm looking forward to giving that one a go. Went over to... Well, actually, before I get to that, I decided... I've always seen that there's some retro games on Amazon, and I've never actually ordered any from there. So I figured I'd give it a go. Saw a couple cheap ones on there. You kind of have to be careful with the prices because a lot of people have some really jacked up prices on there. Stuff's way, way too high for what it should be. So I found a couple games that were reasonably priced. And one of them is Roadrunner Death Valley Rally. I used to have, actually I rented this as a kid, and it was pretty good. Kind of enjoyed it. So it was like $5, so that's about the going rate for it. So I figured why not give it a try. It came faster actually than I ordered several things in that order. Some were fulfilled by Amazon. This came from a third-party seller. And another game that I'll mention in a second that's coming from a third-party seller. This got here the day before the stuff fulfilled by Amazon. So that was a very quick shipping, and was very pleased with that. So if that's a sign of how things go with buying stuff from Amazon, I probably will buy a few more. The other thing that I just mentioned that I ordered off of Amazon is a Tobal 2 for PlayStation 1. And this is a Japanese fighting game sequel. We got Tobal number 1 in the States, which is literally the name of the game, Tobal number 1. Probably most popular for being packed in with a second bonus disc, which was the demo for Final Fantasy VII. So if you find that version, I'm sure that one's probably worth a little bit just to have that. But that's how a lot of us found out about Tobal. It was made by Square. And in Japan, I guess Tobal number 1 didn't sell very well in the States outside of, the initial sales because of the Final Fantasy demo that was in there. Once that was no longer packed in, I guess it didn't really sell that well, so they didn't bother to release Tobal 2 in the States. But me and all my friends, our PlayStations were modded. We had import games. So Tobal 2, great fighting game. It's a game that we played a ton. Visually, it was stunning. The motion of the characters was so fluid, the things that they could do. I mean, this predates, well, not predates Tekken, but it just, it blew Tekken out of the water at the time. So, it's something that, that if you haven't played it, you should try it. It's a great game. So I've got that coming as well. I can't show it to you because it's not here yet. It's actually shipping from Japan, so it's going to take a couple more weeks before it gets here. But in preparation for it, I hadn't fired up my PS1 in quite some time, so I decided to check it out and make sure it was working, and it wasn't. It powered on, but it wouldn't read a disc. No matter what kind of disc I threw at it, it didn't read anything. So I looked into things, and I figured, I knew my laser had worn out. It's actually a first series PS1. I have the AV ports in the back. That'll let you know how old that PS1 is, and it's still my original PS1. Most of my consoles are my original consoles that I have from when I was a kid. So the laser was wearing out. It hadn't been used in quite some time, so I figured that had to be what it is. It needed replacing anyway. It's one of the ones with the plastic gears on it, so to fix it would have been a lot more work than I was willing to do, especially when I can get a replacement laser, which is what I have here. that actually just came in today. So ordered this replacement laser from Amazon. And this laser, this version of it, there's several different versions of the laser. This one actually was the one for the smaller PS1. The one that's actually PSONE, like you can see right there on the box. So this one I'll show you here. It's supposed to be one of the better ones. The big difference that you'll see just looking at it, if I can get the package to open, is that it's light gray, whereas the original ones were black. The one in the the mini PS1, that one was actually this light gray, and then the original model were all black. So this one, it's supposed to be one of the better ones. They did, kind of different redesigns. Some of them had Metal Gears. Those are supposed to be the best ones. But these are really good too. The problem is one of the ribbons on there is pretty short because of how much smaller the system was. So you can't just do a simple swap out. So this particular one comes with this extra ribbon cable to make it long enough so that it actually reaches on the original system. So this one is pretty universal. And apparently I can actually take the little top off of the housing for the laser and replace it with the original black one. I may have to, from some of what I was seeing, where the gray one doesn't really fit in there properly. So this will be a project for probably later tonight. So get that back together. All right, so couple of Goodwill pickups. So my Goodwill tends to not really have any games, pretty much. Like every now and then I'll get lucky and I'll come across something. One time I went in there and there was a Super Nintendo and a Nintendo 64 with no cords, no power adapter, no controllers, no games in there in the building. I'm sure somebody already went in there and grabbed most of that stuff, but the systems were there. I guess maybe they hadn't put those out and I happened to walk in while they were there. So grab them, they were like $5, have an extra system. But game-wise, you may find a few sports titles, original Xbox, PS1, PS2. It's mostly sports titles. I'm not into playing sports games, especially old ones. There's a few of them, like a Double Dribble, or I used to have Tecmo Super NBA Basketball on Super Nintendo. I've been meaning to grab another copy of that at my local flea market. They do have some copies of that pretty cheap, so one of these days I'll go ahead and pull the trigger and grab one of those just to have it. But it just, aside from those few miscellaneous ones, and that's mostly like Nintendo, Super Nintendo, maybe Genesis. I'm not into like grabbing old Maddens and old NHLs and stuff like that, and that's mostly what you see. A few wrestling games. The best wrestling game ever of all time, WCW versus NWO. I've got both versions of that. That's all I need wrestling wise. I don't need any other wrestling games, so I'm good on that. But this one particular time I walk in there and there's a ton of games. I don't know who came in there and dropped off their stuff, but there's a ton of games. So I sifted through them and I found a couple of things that I felt were worth having on the shelf. This one is an original Xbox game. It's one of the earlier Xbox Live games. I remember playing this and it was actually pretty fun. But I don't think I had it. I didn't find it anywhere, so I went ahead and grabbed it. Midtown Madness 3. I remember we used to play some of the other Midtown Madness games on PC back in the day, so they put this on the original Xbox, so I grabbed that one. And I'm a Star Wars fan, not Lord of the Rings, but I figured why not? It looked like it's pretty decent, so I got Lord of the Rings: Return of the King on GameCube, and this one is complete in the box. The Midtown Madness. Actually, this is a different case. I put the plastic on the original case was messed up. You can kind of see, get it a little bit closer, you can kind of see in there the light keeps reflecting off of it. Down in here is pretty bad looking. But the disc was intact, but there's no manual. So, but the disc looked great. There was a copy of Star Wars Force Awakens I was going to grab, but the disc was beat up. I went back today and it was gone. So somebody bought it and probably didn't look at the disc. But speaking of that, I did go today, and I was actually kind of surprised. I figured I'd just go in there real quick. I was actually going to my local retro shop, and I just didn't have time to make it over there before I had to head back home. So I stopped at the Goodwill that was near there, and lo and behold, of course, there's no cartridges as usual. I've seen maybe a Game Boy game in there once, and it was a crap game, so it stayed there. At least till somebody else bought it. But went in the back, looked on the shelf. Stuff's always just kind of thrown about, and I almost walked past it, and I stopped. I said, "Whoa, is that what I think it is?" Donkey Kong Jungle Beat. Now, this is just the bongos, no game, so I still gotta find the game. But in the box, the bongos are in the plastic. So they're in the plastic, and cords wrapped around in the middle. And that's all there was in there. But the box is in pretty good condition. So I figured, okay, great. Well, what is this other thing that's sitting next to it? Another set of bongos. So I went ahead and grabbed both of these. This one actually has the little warning paper in the bottom, but otherwise in the same condition. There's no game in there. There's just the bongos. Actually, I think this is like a replacement set or second set that you can buy. So this one I don't think came with the game anyway. But I'll look for Donkey Kong Jungle Beat. I can find some copies of that online, or maybe run across it somewhere, hopefully fairly cheap, and add that to it and have a complete set there. And then one other thing that I found was Daxter on PSP. Now, I opened it up to check it. There's a manual, no game. So I got them to sell it to me anyway for the price of like a couple bucks of the CD. Like, they bring it up as a CD. I actually have this game already. Some years back, I bought a silver slim PSP off of a guy with power cord and a copy of Daxter for like, I think it was like $20 or something like that. And so the Daxter's been sitting in the PSP just to keep it from sitting loose. So now he has a case and he can go on the shelf with the other couple PSP games I got. So that's everything that I got to show you right now. I want to try to do these at least once a month when the Video Games Monthly box comes in. And I will try to gather up whatever I've gotten over that last month and show you guys what I got. We're going to try to do more things like this. Lots more live streams coming. We're doing live streams on a regular basis, at the very least on the weekend. A few miscellaneous ones throughout the week. We're going to add, there's going to be more of us that are going to be streaming. There's not just me. We've got several people that work with the site. So we're all going to be trying to do some different things, whether it be live streams. Lots of posts are coming for the website. Just trying to do some different things. So make sure that you stay tuned, subscribe, hit the like button. Check out the website, pressstartnews.com. Give us some feedback. Let us know what you like, what you think we should add, any suggestions that you add. We're open to criticism. Just don't be a douche about it. That's all we ask. Constructive criticism, is always welcome. All right, so that'll be it. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. Guys, have a good one. See you next time. Peace.